What if the very thing you've been searching for, the clarity, the power, the peace you've been chasing your entire life, has been sitting quietly inside you this whole time, hidden in plain sight, waiting? Most people think their life is defined by their choices, their willpower, or their ability to think positive. But what if I told you the truth is far stranger and far more powerful? That your entire reality has been sculpted, not by what you think, but by the way you breathe. Let me tell you 3 short stories. Stay with me, because in these 3 stories lies the seed of a revelation that will completely change the way you experience your life. First story. A young man stands on a stage about to deliver the most important presentation of his life. His career depends on it. His palms sweat, his heart races, his mind scrambles for words. But notice what's really happening. His breath has turned shallow, sharp, locked high in his chest. His body is broadcasting fear long before he even speaks. The audience feels it, and his future shifts in a single exhale. Second story. A woman lies awake at night. She's read every personal growth book, repeated every affirmation, filled journals with gratitude. But still, her life feels stuck in the same loop of disappointments. What she doesn't realize is that every affirmation she whispers is carried on a chaotic breath rhythm that tells her body the opposite story. Her lungs are saying, "I'm in danger," while her words are saying, "I am safe." The field around her listens to the breath, not the words. And so nothing changes. Third story. A child sits quietly with their grandmother in a garden. The grandmother doesn't say much, she doesn't need to. She simply breathes slowly, deeply, peacefully. And the child, without knowing why, feels calm, safe, and deeply loved. Later in life, the child won't remember the conversations, but they will remember the presence. That presence was breath. 3 moments, 3 lives, 3 futures, and in each one, a hidden force shaping reality was at play. Not thought, not willpower, breath. Now here's the shocking part. The Heart Math Institute has shown that your breath creates an electromagnetic field that extends up to 8 feet around you, which means every single inhale and exhale isn't just keeping you alive, it's writing the script of your reality. It's programming the space around you. Think about that. 23,000 times a day, you're literally broadcasting who you are to the universe. But most people do it unconsciously, on autopilot, wasting 23,000 opportunities to consciously sculpt reality. This is why so many people try and fail with visualization, affirmations, or mindset hacks. They're trying to change the paint on the canvas while the brush, the breath, keeps drawing the same old picture. But here's the secret the world never told you. Once you shift the way you breathe, you shift the way reality itself arranges around you. Let's slow this down. I want you to notice your breath right now. Don't change it. Just notice. Is it high in your chest? Is it shallow, fast, mechanical? Or is it deep, slow, steady, like an ancient rhythm you once knew but forgot? Because here's the truth. When you were born, your very first act wasn't to think, or to speak, or to prove yourself. It was to inhale. That first breath was your entrance into this reality, a bridge between worlds, and in that moment you knew something you've forgotten. That breath is not survival. Breath is creation. But somewhere along the way you were taught to breathe like a machine, quick, shallow, functional, survival mode. That's when you stopped living as a creator and started existing as a reactor. Ancient traditions across the world knew better. From the Sanskrit prana, to the Hebrew ruach, to the Egyptian mysteries, they all pointed to the same truth. Breath is sacred. It's not air moving in and out. It's energy moving through existence itself. The yogis taught that each breath opens chambers of consciousness. The Egyptians taught that the pause between breaths is the doorway to the infinite. And modern science now proves what they already knew. Your breath shapes not just your body, but your field, your frequency, and therefore your life. Let me put it simply. Every unconscious breath is like a missed note in the song of your life. Every conscious breath is like tuning your instrument to the frequency of creation. And here's where things get even stranger. Quantum physics has something called the observer effect, the principle that observation changes reality. And breath is the perfect observer. When you shift your breath, you shift the way you observe. And when you shift the way you observe, reality itself changes. Think of it like sitting by a river. Your thoughts are the current rushing by, sometimes chaotic, sometimes calm. Most people get swept into that current, believing they are the water. But when you focus on your breath, you sit back on the riverbank. You become the witness. And from that place, the river begins to flow differently. This is the beginning of sacred breathing. It starts with awareness, but it leads to something far deeper. Because hidden in the rhythm of your inhale and exhale is a pause, a silence, a gap so small most people miss it. But inside that gap is the most powerful force in the universe. In the next section, I'm going to show you exactly how to enter that gap, what the ancients called the womb of creation. But before we go there, I want you to remember this. You are not breathing to survive. You are breathing to create. And if you've been wondering why life feels heavy, chaotic, or stuck, it's not because you're broken. It's because your instrument has been out of tune. When you learn to breathe as creation, not survival, you step into the role you were born to play, the architect of reality itself. And the most beautiful part? It doesn't take years of practice. In fact, with a single breath, everything can begin to change. So here we are. You've felt it already. The truth that your breath is more than oxygen. It's the brush painting your life. But what lies beyond the inhale and exhale? What secret did the ancients hide in plain sight? It's the pause, the gap, the silence between breaths. If you listen closely, it's not just emptiness, it's a doorway. In that pause, you step outside the clock of ordinary time. It's the crack in the fabric of the matrix, where possibility has not yet been chosen, where creation is still liquid, unformed. The mystics called it the womb of reality. Modern science might call it the quantum field. You can call it whatever you want, but the truth is the same. When you rest your awareness in that pause, you enter the source code of existence. Let me tell you a story. In 1997, a group of researchers studied Tibetan monks who had been practicing conscious breathing for decades. During meditation, the monks' brain waves shifted into a state scientists couldn't categorize, somewhere between waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. Their immune system strengthened, their perception of time altered, and one monk described the experience not as silence, but as a vast presence waiting to be written upon. Do you see what he was pointing to? In the pause between breaths, reality is waiting for you to give it shape. And here's where it gets personal. The way you breathe, the way you pause, doesn't just change how you feel. It changes how the world arranges itself around you. Let's zoom out for a moment. You've probably heard of synchronicity, those strange coincidences that feel too meaningful to dismiss. Seeing repeating numbers, meeting the right person at the exact right time, finding yourself in the exact place you needed to be. Most people think these are random. But what if they're not? What if synchronicities are simply reality echoing back the rhythm of your breath? When you breathe chaotically, life feels chaotic. When you breathe shallow, life feels shallow. But when you breathe with depth, with coherence, with awareness, you send a signal into the quantum field. And that field responds. It organizes around you. Life begins to meet you where you are breathing from. That's why people who master their breath seem to move differently through life. They're not luckier, they're aligned. Now, I want to be careful here, because this isn't about turning breath into another self-optimization hack. It's not about controlling every inhale or exhale like a machine. It's about remembering that your breath is a relationship, a dialogue with creation itself. When you slow down enough to honor it, creation slows down enough to listen. Let me share something that may feel like it's arriving at just the right moment. There is a book I came across called The Quantum Bridge, a field guide to the 7 keys of reality creation. It's not flashy. It's not the kind of book you'll find stacked on tables at a bookstore. It's more like something you'd hear about in a whisper, passed between friends. The reason I bring it up is simple. If you've felt the pull between science and spirit, between logic and wonder, this book sits right in that space. It shows how quantum physics echoes what mystics have been saying for centuries, and it gives you simple frameworks to align your mind, your energy, your breath. I'm just mentioning it because when I first opened its pages, it felt less like information and more like an invitation. If that feels like something you'd want to explore, I left a link in the description and in the comments. Now let's return. Imagine your life like a canvas. Every thought is a brushstroke, every action is a color. But your breath? Your breath is the frame that holds the entire painting together. Without it, the picture collapses. With it, the picture expands beyond its borders. Here's the paradox. You don't need to force your breath into some rigid practice to experience this shift. The real secret is gentler. It's about remembering. Next time you feel stuck, don't force yourself to think differently. Pause. Notice the breath. Let it deepen. Linger in the silence at the edge of the exhale. And in that space, plant your intention, not as words, not as desperate affirmations, but as a quiet knowing. Do this, and you'll see life start to bend in ways you can't predict. Doors open, paths reveal themselves, synchronicities multiply. Because you are no longer pushing reality, you are breathing with it. And this is the revelation I promised. The greatest secret isn't that breath keeps you alive. It's that breath allows you to create. Every inhale is the universe moving into you. Every exhale is you moving into the universe. The pause between them is where you both meet, in timeless collaboration. So what does this mean for you right now? It means you're not waiting for life to change. You are life changing itself. It means you don't need to fight for alignment. You can breathe it into existence. It means you are not separate from the divine intelligence that shapes galaxies. You are participating in it 23,000 times a day. But only if you remember. And that's the challenge, isn't it? To remember. So I'll leave you with this. The next time you feel lost, anxious, or small, pause. Breathe slowly, deeply. Notice the silence that appears between breaths. And let that silence remind you of who you really are. Not a survivor, not a reactor, but a creator. And if this message resonated with you, if you felt even for a moment the truth that you've always carried inside, then I invite you to subscribe. Not because of algorithms or numbers, but because there's more waiting for you. More to uncover, more to remember. Together, we can step into the silence, breathe with the infinite, and write a new reality, one conscious breath at a time.